Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And jolly good morning to you. This is Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo and broadcasting on TV1, part of the Capital Maharaja Group. And joining me this morning is the longest serving captor that the LTT had, and of course the highest ranking at that too, Commodore Ajit Boyagoda. Good morning to you, Commodore.
Good morning to you.
And I'm also joined this morning by my friend, my colleague, the host of Patikada, Bandula Jayasekara, who's adding some colour this morning to this show. So thank you for being here, Bandula. And let's get straight to the thing. We are, Bandula, you've got the book there, A Long Watch. The Spectator magazine in England has described this book as the first book to come out of a war, of the war zone, if you like, and also
Michael Ondaatje.
Right.
Michael Ondaatje says for us the best book yet on the war in Sri Lanka. It's a subtle and intimate, human and generous Michael Ondaatje.
And the Spectator goes on to say that perhaps it's a bit too much, and some people found parts of it uncomfortable. But to hear the story, a unique story of Commodore Boyagoda, he's right here. Commodore, did you, when they bombed your vessel and you ended up being their captor, did you have much hope that you would be alive thereafter for much long?
It's like this. The attack was in the middle of the night. Two suicide boats came and rammed the ship.
Right.
And the ship got blasted. And with the third blast, the ship started sinking further. And I had to abandon the ship with the crew, remaining crew actually.
Right.
Because they were, with the first and second blast, I presumed a lot of casualties were there, fatal or otherwise. But whoever who was around that time in the upper decks, I had to abandon the ship with them. So we were basically floating in the sea in life rafts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a life raft called Kali raft where you hang on to the raft while it's floating.
Right.
So, and we were moving away from the sinking ship.
Yeah.
And the sea was full of diesel, and we were poured with diesel, and we were moving further, and the LTT boats, attack boats that were roaming in the sea looking for survivors, spotted our raft. They came close, flashlight, and opened fire at close range.
Right.
And for some luck, the bullet missed me. The person who was next to me had to stop it.
Right.
And I saw him sleeping. But later on only I came to know that he was found as a dead person. So then I wanted the others to scatter around and, you know, look for other floating objects and try to...
So they shot but they missed you.
Yes.
Right. And how many of the others were alive?
In my raft there were about 7 of us, but when the boat was getting closer, some left the raft looking for other floating objects, and of course few of us were there, but when he did the sweep with the fire, only one person would have got the shot, because I didn't know at that time, but later on in the papers I saw his dead body was found, and when I came back I got to know from his father. I met him. He's from gold district, and he said that there was a gunshot injury in his body.
Right.
So he was all right when he was with me in the raft. So that was the only time
There was a fire.
there was a fire.
Was that Pereira?
Pereira. That's Pereira.
So what are you saying?
Yeah,
You're saying that they shot him afterwards?
well, it's the nature of we are enemies. They don't want any survivors.
Right.
They
So-
look for survivors and they destroy them or kill them or whatever it is. But
So
anyone who can be picked up, they will pick. When you are in a cluster or in a group, it's anybody will get scared to come closer.
Yeah, how did they pick you? So they picked you up. How did you survive?
Once the firing was over, they went round and came back. Then only I was left in the raft,
Right,
right? Because I wanted others to scatter.
right.
Because when you are in a group,
Group,
the damage is more.
Yeah.
So I was only there holding on to the raft, and they got close and they put a grapnel, grabbed the raft and picked me up.
Right. There began your story.
Yes, that began the story. But you asked me whether I had any hopes of going home again.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I think my death was there at that particular moment. Although I was alive,
You were actually dead.
I am actually dead. I gave up my life because LTT, as we know, is supposed to be a very ruthless terrorist organization, or maybe freedom fighters or separatists. Anyone can call in any name.
Yeah.
But no one will expect to survive with them for 8 years. So at that particular moment,
that is the story. How did you survive for 8 years?
yes.
For us to add, if you don't mind adding to this, which will help you, where Commodore says people talk about the LTT all the time. I lived with them for 8 years and no one, not even my own naval commander, wanted to hear my account of what they were like.
Were they so cheesed off with them that they didn't want to hear your story? Did they feel that it would be a PR coup for them?
Yes, in a way. You see, now what should have happened, or in the normal process, now I am a captive, released. I should be tried in a court of law, or court-martial me, or having a board of inquiry, and should get my should give me the opportunity to prove my innocence.
I have a question from a viewer. He's asking a clarification. He's saying, or he or she, is asking whether the LTT shot at you when it was in the water whilst you were unarmed. Were you unarmed when they
Yeah,
shot
of course. How can you carry arm while floating in the sea?
Okay.
You see, all were unarmed and surviving, trying to survive the situation. You see.
All right. So back to this. How did you survive? What did you do? Did you cut a deal with them? What happened?
Yeah, many in the south came up with lot of suggestions, lot of theories were spread around that I sold the ship to LTT. I have been selling diesel to LTT, bartering with them or having deals with them.
But did you suffer from the Stockholm syndrome?
For a while, yes. After my release.
After your release?
Yes.
But whilst you were captive, did you, in effect, joined the LTT because you had sympathy for them. I don't mean that you joined improperly, but what I'm asking is, did you have a lot of sympathy for them?
Or because you had to survive?
No. Actually, some say, even some ministers have pointed out at some point that the Mullaitivu attack was led by Captain Boyagoda.
But who takes notice of these ministers, for heaven's sake? Bundle and I don't take much notice of what they say.
But
Don't
you
think that we
see,
should name the minister. This was in 2002, right?
Yes, you can. Do you want to name them? Do you want to name who said this nonsense to you?
Yeah, you must tell for us the story where when your wife and your...
Okay, my wife and my father
Yeah.
had gone to see this particular minister looking for some kind of solace to, to get me out of this agony or whatever it is. But why the government is not taking any steps, action to get these people who have been, or the soldiers and the servicemen who are being detained by the LTT.
Right.
Where nobody was taking any notice of the detainees. Some have said even they didn't know that there are detainees with LTT.
Right.
Right? So this particular, I don't like to name it, but since you are insisting, I will say it was Minister S.B. Dissanayake, who was met by my father and wife. The moment he was coming out of the room, he had said, if it is Boyagoda, I don't want to talk to you. If anything to do with Boyagoda,
I'm sorry, who said this? Which?
Minister Dissanayake at that last regime, during the last regime.
Right.
He had said, well, I was with the President Chandrika. We watched a video of the Mullaitivu attack, and Boyagoda was leading the front. Whereas,
were you? I might as well ask you the question.
yes, of course, yes.
Were you?
Yeah.
Did you leave them?
Not physically me, but my ghost would have been there at that moment, because I was in a 3x9 cell with 3 other inmates, 3 of my colleague, my other naval colleague and another army personnel, confined in Malla, in south of Mana,
Right.
in a 3x9 cell,
Right.
when the Mullaitivu attack took place.
Right.
And that also we got to know when the guards came in front of us cells and they were performing the victory dance.
Right.
Then only we knew that something had gone wrong, and later on only when we read the newspapers that we get after a couple of months from with the courtesy of ICRC, that there had been a debacle of Mullaitivu.
Huge proportions. What an interesting story. And we're going to take a short break with that. We'll come right back. Don't go away. After all, this is Newsline.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And good morning again and welcome back to Newsline, where we're joined today by Commodore Ajit Boyagoda and Bandlajai Sekra. Commodore, you said about this minister. Have you met him since?
I generally don't. I don't have habit of meeting ministers or politicians and going behind them.
At some function?
No. Well, I was not a celebrity at that time, I was like a discarded person, because I was basically thrown out of the Navy. I was asked to leave,
What? Whilst you were in captivity?
Yeah, after my return,
Yeah.
after 8 years of captivity, I came. I had still, in my service, I was not 55. I could have gone on till 55. And I was not promoted for 1.5 years by then commander.
Who was the commander then?
Admiral Sandagiri. Not promoted.
Not promoted whilst after your release?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, even after the board that I requested to look into my incident, the second vote,
Right.
and they went through my evidence, the other evidence that I brought in, and proved myself why I had to stay there and what took place. And that board acquitted me, exonerated me of all the charges that were framed against me.
What possible
Right.
charges could they have had against you? You were captured in the pursuit of your and in the line of your duty. And
well-
what did you do?
Yeah, the charges that were against me were that in my action, I have put the men and material into danger,
Oh, I see.
right? Thereby losing the ship and losing men.
Right.
Because I was the captain of the ship, I was the commanding officer, and that is my responsibility. Yes, of course. But I had reasons why I stayed in that location. They also said that I have been waiting in one area at anchor for a considerable time of period.
Right.
But I had reasons for that. That's why I said, okay, give me the opportunity, because it is against the natural justice to find me guilty when without hearing my evidence, when they know that I am alive. So on
your request.
put for request, only the board was appointed and that acquitted, and thereafter I was a free man, or rather I was not a
You
there
were not
were-
accused.
yeah, I'm not accused.
But you were still at the when you
But
were
even then, commander didn't promote me.
right.
He
That
never
was
sent,
Sandagiri you're talking
yeah, he never sent my recommendation to the president. And finally, after 1.5 years, because I couldn't wear the uniform that I loved to wear, because all my juniors were promoted ahead of me, and I was just still a commander. They were captains and commodores, and even my batchmates were commodores, and I couldn't wear my uniform. Because of that, I refused to wear. And after 1.5 years, commander asking me, if you opt to retire, I will promote. So there was no other option for me then. I'll live like a beggar in the Navy or get out of the Navy with some dignity. That was the choice I
That was
had.
the trade-off.
But some say, okay, go to human rights, go to there, put a case against this, all that. But I said, no, my father never taught me that. Right? You see, we never taught to spit in the plate that we eat. Right? And that was, Navy was where I get my salary to feed my children, myself, everyone. So I didn't want to take that to the court and say, okay, give me this. So I said, no, I don't want, I'll leave. Okay, but then I requested in writing certain conditions in my retirement, so that I will enjoy the retirement benefits, for which he didn't do that either.
What did you ask for, and were they within the rules?
Yeah, to put my promotion date, the last promotion that I'm going to get, in par with the last person who was promoted from my batch. So I am not denying anybody's rights.
Okay.
Right? So I'll be in par with my batchmate who was promoted, because juniors can't go ahead of him, no?
Right.
So I'm not depriving
Anyone? Yeah.
anyone below me also. And I was, mind you, for us, that service was not counted, that 8-year period was counted as active service. Right? So
It was or it wasn't?
it was counted as active service.
Indeed.
Right? Because I was never left the Navy or
Yeah.
threw me out of the Navy.
Yes.
Ajit, this Admiral Sandagiri who went and served with Avantgarde, right? He served, did he serve there later as an advisor?
Probably, I heard so later on. He was, but
So he basically harassed you. But how did your wife and children take this?
That's right. I want to know that.
Yeah, no, but I ask simple things, you know, to promote me, par with me, so that I will enjoy my pension rights. Like, because any flag officer retiring is entitled for a duty-free permit.
Right.
Right? So far I haven't got it. Right? So, it's not a big thing I asked, you know. But because what happened was he promoted me today and tomorrow he retired me. Right. So I was only serving 1 day in that particular run, and the treasury, under the regulations or their purview, can't issue me a permit. So I was denied of that.
Commodore, how angry are you? Because you know you've you joined the Navy of your free will. That is what you wanted to do. Served your country, and you are then given nothing more than a kick up the rear. For want of a better word. How angry are you?
I have no vengeance, you know. I am not a person who will keep anything in the heart. I am very open. And then I should have been more angry with the LTT or Prabhakaran or anybody, because they blocked me for 8 years and they denied all my, you know, the best time of my children. You know, I couldn't see they grow up, how they played cricket and how they excel in sports, academics, all that. I didn't see that, which I can't go back and say, okay, Puta, now say you play cricket, because they are big children now. So I lost that.
The LTT. You're forgiven your captors.
Yes, because I don't want to make this country another blood-shedding island. You know, that's the main purpose of writing this book, because I told Sunila, don't make me a hero. I don't want to be a hero. You know, I would have said, okay, I was tortured, my nails were removed, I was put in a dog cages, all that.
I haven't read the book, but I have read the Spectator review of it, and it says there that there's a part there that says that you helped your captors, for example, when they wanted to do English translations of whatever. Is that right?
Yeah. I never denied that, because you know, at the first few months, you know, it was like you know, anybody, even we do that when we get somebody captured from the enemies, we question him and we grill him, and this happens. You see, it's not a new thing with the LTT and me.
Right.
It's a normal done thing.
Right.
But they never. I never knew any state secrets.
Right.
Naval secrets, because I had not served in any of those areas at that time, right? So I didn't know any of those things, but when they asked me where I served, how it looks like and where it is, I said, okay, I served in Trincomalee 8 years ago or 5 years ago. If you want to hear that, I'll tell, but they don't go by that.
We've got to take another short break. Don't go away. This is Newsline. We'll be right back.
Faraz Shaukdali.
And welcome back to Newsline with Commodore Ajit Boyagoda. Commodore, tell me, how did you manage? Did the LTT torture you at all?
But as I said before, Faraz, no physical torture was done.
Right.
But I was confined, I was chained, and didn't get a square meal, and had to survive with what they give. And it was kind of a mental torture, you see.
And sorry, because I want to. We've got so many questions and about 4 minutes left. So they didn't torture you like that. In this 8-year period, did you ever have any contact with your family?
Yes, once we declared to the, it was a coincidence. On my second son's birthday, that was November 11th of October, the gentleman who was in charge of us at that time, he's known as Shashikumar Master.
Yeah.
I hope he would have probably gone with the last battle. He came and told me, Captain, you are very lucky. We are going for a birthday party.
Right.
I was wondering what it is. Birthdays I never heard in
battle. Yeah.
Battle or captivity. But anyway, they asked me to get dressed, gave me a jumper, t-shirt, got into that with my colleague who was also there, Vijita. And we were driven to yet another blindfolded drive, somewhere, and stopped us, asked us to get out, given us another set of breast, a shirt and a trouser. Again got in, blindfolded, and drove for some time, and came to a point, released, and asked us to get off and walk. I was wondering where to walk, how to walk, because we are in a bit of a shaky situation now. To see, we were driven into the political wing of LTT.
This is in Kilinochchi.
No, not in that time, in Nallur area, in Jaffna Peninsula.
Right.
And there we met the ICRC personnel.
Right.
So we were officially declared to International Committee of Red Cross as prisoners of war.
Right.
So with that moment, that day I got a message or letter written by my wife and my 3 children, small letters, saying hi. And from that day onwards, every visit they come, they bring messages, and we send back messages, of course, subject to censor by both sides, ICRC or LTT. So we had contact like that.
So that was the contact. You didn't actually speak with them?
No. Until we staged a hunger strike, for which I opposed first, but later on I thought, well, if I participate, there will be some impact on it.
Yeah.
Because the hunger strike is not against LTT, against the government.
Why against the government?
Asking the government to initiate some talks to release us.
Right.
So I said, no, it's against our norms. We are government servants. We can't strike against the government. But others started, and later on I thought, okay, it's my participating in that will give some strength.
So when you went on a hunger strike, you were then able to talk to your wife?
Then of course, after 10 days, they were asked, of course the LTT was sending messages, anybody can come from south and visit us, but none came, and parents were trying to come. Then President didn't allow them at that time, but later on, when I made a point saying that, okay, I'm going to stop drinking water until my death, this was highlighted in the international media, and then only probably the President had given the consent for 2 from each family to visit Vanni with the ICRC. At that time, I saw my wife for the first time after 6 years.
Commodore Ajit Boyagoda, thank you very much for sharing part of your long 8-year story, but which is well documented in a long watch. And I think it's be a great read, and I certainly should get that. Thank you very much. We've actually
Can I take a minute?
You can take 5 seconds.
5 seconds. I must thank my wife. Today is my 33rd wedding anniversary, and I wish all the best, and I thank her for being with me in all the troubled waters, in all stormy weather, to go through this 33 years of life.
To Commodore Boyagoda and to his wife, happy anniversary.
Thank you, Faraz. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching Newsline. Absolutely powerful story this morning, and we're sorry we overran. But take care, have a great day, and God bless.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.